Welcome back to Life the Germ. I'm your host, Jeremy. And we're kind of in a new spot. So I'm gonna give you a little tour quick. We kind of really did that move, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Cheese for the one time. You know, the record player, you know. I might get into vlogging a little more, honestly. I got some shoes here, you know. Little cacti. Shout out Bella for the one time. We'll see. Maybe some hiking vlogs, low key. Could be that guy just, kind of just out talking on his camera. Who knows? Anyways, I'm gonna try not to squeak this chair too much because I know it do be a little squeaky though. So update. In order for me to get a full 30 minutes on this camera, I had to drastically decrease the resolution. So, yeah. Basically, we're going to see how this turns out. Again, still kind of experimenting, fine-tuning, but it might give it, honestly, a little bit of a retro kind of vibe, which I might honestly be going for. Anyways, so we'll see how everything turns out. But, yeah, basically, I took a long hiatus from the pod, if you didn't notice. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious, but yeah, took a long break, and usually I say it was much needed. It wasn't. It definitely was not. I wanted to hop on here sooner, but I had a lot of stuff going on. I had a big move. I moved kind of from a suburb of Denver into the city. You know, we're in the heart of the city now in Denver, and had a lot of boxes to unpack and a lot of as my old roommates like to say, you know, I just have a lot of stuff. So with all that stuff comes a lot of unpacking and finagling, and a big difference that I realized was that when I moved out here last year, I didn't have a job, right? My job hadn't started yet. So it was a little bit easier to move everything in, whereas this year, you know, I'm having to unpack while, you know, after these long shifts of work that I'm just come home really tired. I'm like, all right, let's get after a box, you know, and let's get a box done. But it was a grind, you know, and but here we are sitting here. I think I've found a bit of a routine now, you know. I'm starting to get in the swing of things. I got a little gym membership now, and I'm going on runs in the city now, and yeah, I went home for my friend's wedding. Shout out Justin and Emily, and that was a blast, man. I got to go home and see all the day ones, and it was a good time. And, you know, Sunday I'm flying out, and who do I sit next to but Coffer McCofferson, you know, just the whole flight. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be in for it. I just knew it. I didn't know what she had, right? But, you know, you give it a couple days, and before you know it, I got a little sore throat. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to be fun. And it just, I don't have full range of motion with the mic, but just boom, it just hits, you know, and I'm just knocked on my butt. I had a fever for a couple days, and, you know, chills, you know, the whole works. So I was so grateful to be given that. And honestly, in a way, it is nice when I get sick. I was talking to my friend about this, but sometimes I like a little fever. I'm not gonna lie. It gives you this different mind state, you know, where you see things a little bit differently, and I kind of like that. It gives a little different vibe, and allow me to kind of allows me, it definitely forces you to slow down and think about certain aspects of your life that maybe you don't have time to think about, during the week because you're busy or whatnot. So, as you can tell, like it came and went pretty quick. I had it last week and it's gone. I think I had the flu, so I don't think I've gotten the flu in the summer. Definitely don't recommend. I would say if there's a time to get it though, it'd probably be the summer, honestly. Yeah, like, because your winter's already crappy. Like, attack on the flu, and it's just even a little crappier. So, um, glad to be done with that. But yeah, like I said, just kind of settling into a routine, and wanted to hop on here while I had the chance. Me and Brady got a little skate session tonight, and got to check out a new skate park. So that's always fun. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm um, kind of just riding the wave. Um, Hoping this mirror isn't. Hey, hey, hey. I'm hoping that mirror isn't too awkward, but we'll see. But yeah, I think just getting right into it. Wisdom of the week. First, we'll announce song of the week. It's gonna be "Change Your Mind" by Paradise Blossom. It's a fun little vibe. It's a good time. I enjoy listening to that song, and it's kind of this like romantic sort of psychedelic indie kind of vibe that I've just been kind of running. It's been coursing through my veins lately, and I figured I'd give it a little shout out. It's sort of the vibe I've been going for these days. The indie vibes, kind of chill stuff that's more replayable than maybe some of my old stuff used to be, like rap and hip hop and whatnot. But yeah, I think a big reason why I came on here today was to obviously give a little lowdown on the wisdom of the week. And to start, I think surface level it feels maybe a bit cliche to people, and that's okay. And I'm not in disagreement with it, but it kind of starts with the fact that like it's a very simple one today. Not getting too deep or anything, but just the fact that as the title says, like if you really stop and think about it, like everyone is kind of a genius in their own right. Um, and I think in society, like people get a bad rap, like um, people are quick to judge people's intelligence or whatnot, and oh, you're smart, you're kind of what is the word, slow, and it's just I I don't know how I exactly feel about that, but I think one thing that I've kind of realized, and I've had this lesson kind of brewing in my head for a few weeks now, is just that I think looking at it from like a biological perspective, a big, huge advantage that humans have over really every other species is the fact that we can create things, right? And we can harness our creativity to solve problems and to express our emotions and to really sometimes even get people to see the world in a little bit of a different light. And I think that's pretty cool, like it allows you to sort of be in tune with yourself, right? I think that's what creativity has kind of done for me. It's I think it's the best way to express yourself, and you can do so on this individual level that no one else can really, um, I wouldn't say relate to, right? I think people can relate to it, but no one thinks the exact same way you do, right? But when you share your whatever creation is, you're able to, people are able to, I think, and that's the cool part. Like if you leave it up to interpretation, right? One of my biggest pet peeves is when like a movie has a very like deep theme that maybe leaves you on a cliffhanger and leaves you thinking, and immediately my friends will like, oh, I want to know what it is, and they'll look it up, and it's like, okay, why don't we just stop, and instead of looking it up right away, like, what's your take on it? Like, what do you think it was trying to say, and what do you think it was trying to speak to you? Because really, on those movies that are kind of leave it up to interpretation, everyone has a little bit of a different takeaway, and I think I really think that's the kind of the beauty of it, right? Because um, you're given the opportunity to kind of think on your own, and it's a big reason why I like research a lot, is because you get to use that creativity, right? I wouldn't say every day. I think I came into grad school thinking it was like an everyday thing. But like, when you read something related to your research, you get these like light bulb moments where you're like, oh my gosh, like what if this is also true in my project? Or what if I took a spin on this experiment and applied it to my own research, and then what if that was true? Like, and it's interesting to kind of think those scenarios through. And all this to say, I'm a very big advocate for really just, and I know I've talked about this before, but really letting your creativity kind of flourish, right? Whatever that may be. I think, and the title really gets at this in a way that, like, okay, say surface level you talk to someone and they don't seem very intelligent, but at the end of the day, I think we're all smart in terms of our creativity, right? We all have ways of expressing ourselves in ways that I've never really thought were like imaginable. Like I think even music to me, it's just, I've dabbled a little bit with guitar and whatnot, but I just, listening to some of this music, I'm like, how people are able to convey emotions through sound is just absurd to me. Like, and you could say it's true for me on this podcast, right? Like my voice inflections, but like through an instrument is just like a whole different, there's these different like mediums of creativity, whether that's through writing, painting, talking, instruments, there's so many different ways to convey creativity. And I think to a lot of people that don't really dabble in creativity and don't really like see themselves as creative, they really think it's this main vein of like, there's writing and there's like painting or drawing, and if you can't do either of those, well, I don't know if you're that creative. But it's not, it really isn't that way. And I know I've harped on this before, but it really can be something as simple as just, you drive to work every day going the same route, but you know that there's other routes to take. And today you decide, from the 4 routes I know to get to work, I'm going to synthesize a new route in which I combine all those 4 routes. And maybe it's not the fastest way, but maybe you find that some secret backdoor way that Google Maps doesn't even know about ends up being faster, and it's just stuff like that you apply your knowledge to look at something in a different light. And I think humans are geniuses in that right. And I don't know how or why that evolved. I think that's a really like interesting thing that you could I think you could think about a lot of different hypotheses as to why that is, but at the end of the day, it's a really really powerful trait, and to be able to, especially when you're on a team, right? You form a team of people that all have these creative minds, and everyone looks at the problem in a different way. Even in my lab, this happens. My lab is a very small lab. It's just me and a couple other people, but we all look at the research question, or the research, I don't want to say research problem, but the the problem or the question that we're trying to answer. And depending on who you ask, we all get very different answers, right? And who's to say which answers are right or wrong? I mean, I don't really know. Sure, there's better ways to answer the question than others. Um, but it's cool to get that different input, and to, ask different people about your creations and be like, okay, what do you think of it? And even just, especially like the real ones who can give you just a straight up answer, like, okay, what do you like about this? What do you not really understand, or where you're not getting? Like, I just, I really think it's it's a special trait that gets overlooked, and I'm here to say, let's praise it a little, let's raise it up, and let's recognize it, because um it is really cool to be able to express yourself creatively on the daily. So I think the main takeaway here is, you are a genius listening to this. Anyone that's listening to this, I don't know, I'm sure at least one time in your life, I know I have, you've been called slow or dumb or whatever. And sure, we all have our moments, right? But at the end of the day, like, remember, like, you have this creative potential that no one else can fully replicate. And that, to me, is incredibly powerful. Like, that makes you as an individual incredibly in demand, because you have ideas and thoughts, and creations that no one else has. And that's pretty rad. It's pretty rad. So that's kind of the rundown. This little wisdom of the week. Video number 2 going live. I'm pumped to see how this one turned out, and there's no cuts this time, which is nice, and we were able to do it in one take. So, thank you guys for listening, and I think we'll slowly be creeping back into posting more regularly on the pod, and getting back into the groove of that I've so like badly been missing. So, thank you for listening to this one, and I'll catch you in the next episode.